Hello and welcome to Real Life with Lisa. I'm Lisa Jacobson. I'm married to Matthew Jacobson, and together we have 8 children. Last week and this week, we've been talking about holidays and how to enjoy those holidays so that they're peaceful, that they are a blessing, and that we're not just running around and feeling stressed, feeling anxious, and instead of just having a time of lightheartedness and celebration. So whenever somebody finds out that we have 8 children, usually the response is like, say I'm checking out at Target or something, right? And the cashier will say, "You have 8 children. Wow, Christmas must be just crazy at your home." And if I don't know them well, I just laugh and just, kind of nod my head. But if I know you at all, then I actually will probably correct you and say, you know what? It's not crazy. It's actually surprisingly peaceful in our home around the holidays. And there are some specific things we have done that have helped to make it that way. Last week, I shared with you some of those things. I shared you about how we put together a budget, both time budget and financial budget, and how we have attempted to evaluate each opportunity, each event, that it goes underneath those budgets so that we don't find ourselves strung out, broke at the end of the holidays. So this week, I want to continue that conversation and just talk about some things like what happens if you have a conflict, or what happens if, how do you pick those things that are important and full of celebration but don't cause too much stress. So to start with, we are really committed to keeping it simple. And I know some people say that it's easier to said than done, isn't it, to keep the holiday simple. But just being able to say no is a great start. And also sitting down with your whole family and talking about those value statements that we talked about last week, and talking with your children. Children, this holiday, this Christmas, it's about the birth of our Savior, and our family wants to keep that as the focus of our time together. And the various ways that we do that, I'm just going to get specific how we do that in our home. We are we're very minimalistic when it comes to gifts, and even we have a large family, so there are a ton of us, and we don't even have spouses yet. Our children aren't married at this time, but even still, that's a lot of gifts, right? So we keep it to basically 1 or 2 gifts at the most, and it's fun to open a gift and we enjoy that, but we don't want that to be the center of our attention. So our gift opening time is very short, and after that we have so many other things that we enjoy doing. Some other things that we do to keep it simple is we do not attend a lot of events. We don't go to all the plays. We don't go visit just every opportunity, every party. We often tell people, no, I'm sorry that our family's not available. When we asked our older children when they were in their, teens, and we said to them, what are your best memories about Christmas? And their answers rather surprised me. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting this, because the things that they said were things like, oh, we just love waking up to homemade cinnamon rolls on Christmas morning, which is one of our traditions. And we love when Dad reads the best Christmas pageant ever. That's another tradition we have. We love hearing the Christmas story. We have a Christmas Eve gathering every year in our home, and we sing hymns and carols and have a time of sharing. So that was a highlight for them. But almost all the things that they mentioned were things that were so basic, and it was a very good moment for me as a mom to realize that all these things we do, all the big things, and going to see this and going to see the Nutcracker Suite, which I love, by the way, so don't take me wrong, but you can cram in so many of these things into one small season that you lose the joy. And here, the things that meant the most to my children were things that were so easy. And that was a very freeing moment to me to realize, you know what? I can just do a few things and be all there as a parent for my kids. And that means the most to them. So one of the ways that we protect our Christmases is, and this is one of my secrets, and don't tell my family, just kidding, they watch this too, but we schedule in purposeful downtime. So what I mean by that is we actually literally take our calendar and we mark off the days that we are unavailable as a family. And that way, when we do get invited to things, we can say, I'm sorry, our family is busy that night. Now, it doesn't mean we're busy going somewhere. It means we're busy being at home and popping popcorn and sitting by the fire and reading stories or just sharing. And I think we don't often realize that we have power over our calendar, and we can make those decisions ahead of time and stick to them, and then enjoy the results of a close family time rather than everybody scattered in a bunch of different directions. So, next question is, what happens if there's a conflict? What happens if you feel really strongly about something and maybe somebody you love, like a parent, as in a grandparent, feels strongly about something else? Well, I have two answers to that, and they're conflicting answers, so you'll just have to pray for wisdom. One of our answers is, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we're not going to attend the big family gathering this year. It cost our family too much, and people are disappointed, and we hope that over time they get over that and realize we do love them, we do care about them, but that is just too high of a price for us to pay. The other answer is, sometimes we make compromises with what we would normally set out as a goal or a purpose. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to give you a concrete example so you can see. So we went through a time where our policy was basically no gifts at Christmas time. Don't worry, we outgrew that, but it was a season that we went through, and it was sort of one of those pendulum swings because so many people had so many presents, and that was such a focus of Christmas that we wanted to swing the other way, so we weren't going to do presents at all. And I told you our kids are going to need therapy someday because of all our experimenting with them as we were trying to figure out what works best for us at Christmas time. But my parents, my mom in particular, her love language is giving gifts. And the thought of telling her that no, she couldn't give gifts to our children because that was our conviction that we weren't going to do gifts, that we felt like it distracted from our focus on Christ. And as my husband and I talked about it, and we talked about it at length, we realized that sometimes I think it's okay to say, you know what, this isn't our thing. We don't want to have too many gifts. But Mom, I realize that this means so much to you, and we're going to allow you to give them gifts. And how we ended up working it out with them is we told them these are the kind of gifts we would like. We were trying not to collect too many toys, so we asked that they would get them books or clothes or educational things. We're homeschoolers, so there was a big list of those kinds of things. And she really got into it, and every year it's been a real blessing. We also open those gifts before Christmas because on Christmas Day we try to keep it, like I said, very focused on Christ, and we didn't want to have just a huge amount of presents, because what child doesn't approach a huge amount of presents and thinking about baby Jesus, right? Not generally speaking, not so much. So that's just a small example of a way that you can still get creative and you can compromise and try to do all that you can as with the people that you love that have different expectations of you and your family. And then sometimes you just have to say, I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is not what we're doing this year. Now, next question is, how do you prepare your family for the holidays? As a mom, I feel like this is such an important role that we have to be able to do this. Sometimes we just get going into those holidays and it just takes over. Next thing you know, we're just doing this and doing that, and we don't even know what happened until either your child's having a breakdown, maybe I'm having a breakdown. And I don't want that to happen. I want to do all that I can to prepare my family to have a purposeful, intentional holiday season. So some of those ways are to celebrate Advent. I'm going to try to remember to share a link with you at the bottom of the post that has 25 wonderful Advent books that you can share with your children, and the ages vary, so there should be something in there for you. And I love that idea of just preparing our hearts for His coming and for that celebration. We've always had an Advent calendar, which is one of the things our children mentioned that they really enjoyed and was a highlight for them. Another way that we prepare our hearts is we listen to a lot of Christmas music, and I don't mean like jingle bells. I actually mean those Christmas hymns, Christmas carols that really focus on His coming and what that means as a family. We also have books that we read every year. I think I mentioned either this one or last time about the Best Christmas Pageant Ever. It's one of our just fun family favorites. We have more serious books as well that we enjoy, and I will also try to have links for all of these with a list of each of these music, books, and Advent resources for you that you can pick from as well if you want to do that. And then we talk with our children quite a bit about what it means for Christ to come and how that had such an impact on the world and on our family in particular. And that takes time. That means you can't be running around. That means you get to make those choices on how you're going to spend the time. And I find that if I'm at every school event, every family gathering, that we're not able to have those conversations that are so important. So I would just encourage you to really be purposeful about your holiday season and block out those sections of time that just say, you know what, our family's just unavailable. For us, that's about December 23rd till about the 26th. It's usually 4 or 5 days that we are basically unavailable. The only exception for us is Christmas Eve, where we have a big gathering. We invite our friends and family over for singing and sharing, and but otherwise we pretty much hunker down, and it's been a real blessing for us. So that's all I have to share with you today. If you have questions or you have other ideas of lovely ways that you celebrate Christmas, I would love to hear them. Just include those in the comments below. And next week, what I wanted to share with you about is just how to prepare your marriage for the coming holidays, because so many couples have mentioned that holiday season is very stressful on their marriage. And I have some ways that we've found that have really helped to make it a joyful season rather than an argumentative or tension-filled season. All right, God bless, and I look forward to talking to you next week.